Alrighty folks, happy Tuesday. So I made this post yesterday that some of y'all might have seen where I was just sharing some life updates, and I mentioned that I basically have reversed scoliosis, which is where your spine is either a little bit curved to one side or it's like curved too much front to back. And a lot of people ask me questions on the post like, can you talk more about how you healed your spine? And so I'm gonna do that here in this video. I'm gonna share some of the different practices and tools that I've been using for really the past 13 years that have helped me on my healing path. So I haven't really prepared for this video, but this is what I talk about and think about all the time, so I'm just gonna freestyle. And if you have a question or a comment at any time, even if you're watching this in the future, feel free to put it down below. But yeah, just to kind of trace it back a little bit, even when I was like 13, 14, like starting to go through puberty, like I developed knee pain, and it kind of hindered my ability to play sports, and that was frustrating. And then when I was a junior in high school, I had chronic pain in my wrists, and that just hindered my ability to even take notes in class. So that was really when my chronic pain kind of really came to the surface, and it got so bad that I couldn't write in school, and I ended up going to this rehab center for 3 weeks. I lived at this rehab center, and I did all these different exercises every day, and sure enough, at the end of 3 weeks, my wrist pain was pretty much gone, and I was completely shocked by that. And also in this rehab center, so this is when I was 17 years old, in this rehab center, I learned about the mind-body connection, which is what a lot of this video is going to be about, is how our mind, our body, and also our emotions all have a puzzle piece that is important to be aware of in the healing process. So if you want to take notes, I'm going to be dropping a lot of different, interesting insights. I'm a big fan of taking notes, so if you have a piece of paper handy, feel free to grab it. But one big message I want to say is that for every path of healing, I believe it needs to be on the spirit. It needs to have a component of the spiritual aspect of ourselves, also known as the energetic. So like the non-physical aspect. Then there's the mental aspect, and then there's the emotional aspect, and then there's the physical aspect. So if you go backwards, that's PEMS. So the acronym could be PEMS. But if you want to heal anything, I believe that you have to address the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. So PEMS. Gotta remember that. So anyways, back when I was 17, that's when I first learned about the mind-body connection. That's when I first did my first guided meditation, and I was seeing a psychologist at this rehab center, and she led me through a guided meditation where she had me relax each part of my body, starting from like the top of my head all the way down to my toes. And like after 20 minutes, my whole state of being was completely changed, and it shocked me. I felt like I was a big ball of jello or something, and that showed me that like mind over matter is essentially a real thing. Like you can think certain things or visualize certain things, and it can have a tangible effect on your physical body. And some people are like haters on the whole mind over matter thing, but there's so many clear examples of it. When you're walking up to give a speech in front of people, just your mind is racing and stuff, and that causes you to blush, or it causes a sensation in your body. So it's clear that like depending on what the thoughts that we're having and the emotions, it has a very tangible physical effect. So there's real clear examples of the mind-body connection. So back to my kind of timeline. So when I was 17, I first healed my chronic pain, but sure enough, a few months later, I developed chronic pain again in my hips. And when it came back, I was like, man, this really sucks, but I think I know how to heal it, because when I was at this rehab center, I was doing literally like 4 to 6 hours of physical therapy every day, jumping jacks, going in the pool, swimming, rehab, all these different things. And the theory is to basically retrain your nervous system to not be stuck in these pain loops. Because a lot of us, we get stuck in these like chronic pain loops, and then we create a story in our mind which reinforces like, oh, I have pain in my wrists. Every day when I wake up, I tell myself again that I have pain in my wrists. And it becomes like this kind of vicious cycle. So the rehab center is kind of, their theory is to retrain your body to not be stuck in this chronic pain loop. And one of the big things that I learned also in this phase is how repressed emotions often manifest as physical pain. So if you're taking notes, I highly recommend writing that down. Repressed emotions often manifest as physical pain or physical injury. And part of my 12, 13 years of research has been exploring these different schools of thought, because there's different like doctors and people have different theories on why repressed emotions manifest as physical pain. So one of them is that there's this Dr. Sarno who is famous for a book called Healing Back Pain. His theory is that we repress, say the emotion is anger, we repress the emotion of anger because we're so afraid to face it, and our subconscious mind actually thinks that being in pain is actually better than letting this repressed anger come to the surface. And so our bodies will kind of like create a pain in our body as almost like an alternative to expressing anger. And I really feel like that was the case for me in a lot of ways. Growing up, I never felt it was safe to express anger in my family. It was always just kind of shoved under the rug. And my parents were pretty like accepting if I was gonna feel sad about something. But when I was a freshman in high school, I was actually just thinking about this today, how much of a fucking impact this had on me. When I was a freshman in high school, one of my friends had a fake ID. He was older, so we went to this neighborhood to get some beer. We get the beer, we pull out of the beer distributor. Within 2 seconds of pulling out, the cops are onto us. We're like, fuck, they caught us. So we pull over, and this one cop pulls up on us. Literally like 6 cop cars pulled up. And here I am, a freshman in high school. I had never gotten in trouble ever before. I'm like, oh my God, my life is over. Like, this is what I've been seeing on the movies. And these cops were like really fucking intense. They got on the loudspeaker. They were like, put your hands on the dash. Do not move. And we're like in this like SUV, and I was in the back seat, and I just started crying. I was like, fuck, like my life is over. We're gonna go to jail. My friends had weed on us. I was like, they're gonna fucking find it. They're gonna bust us. Like, we're done for. So I started crying. It was me and like 5 of my guy friends. None of them started crying. So sure enough, the cops were actually pretty cool. They thought that we were some other drug dealers or something, but they realized we were just high school kids. So they let us go. They made us dump out the beer. But my friends would never stop talking about the time when Kevin started crying when the cops pulled us over. It was just like, I never heard the end of that. And so I basically decided within myself, like, I'm never gonna fucking cry ever again in my life. You know, I'm never gonna let myself show weakness, so to speak. And that fucked me up because I wouldn't let myself access that emotions, which is a totally natural thing for people to feel. And I believe that so many of us have done this in many different ways with emotions, and emotion could be explained as energy in motion. So if the natural inclination is to have this energy in motion flowing through us and getting out, like a little kid that will have a temper tantrum and then they're mad one minute and then they're smiling the next minute, like they're able to move that energy through flawlessly, and that's the healthy way to do it. But for people like me that were conditioned to not let ourselves cry, it gets bottled up in our body and it turns into chronic pain, or it turns into, some sort of weird body issues. And my theory on this from my many, literally thousands of hours of studying and practicing, is that, it's like an electrical charge. Like anger is like a fucking strong electrical charge. And that charge basically gets like stuck in you. So my area for anger is like the right side of my neck. It's just like all this electricity is like fucking trapped there. So for the last 7 years, I've been doing these anger release practices where I'll go in my car or I'll go deep into the woods and I'll just fucking yell as loud as I can for like sometimes a full hour straight. And I know to a lot of people that sounds crazy, but like my whole journey is like I will do whatever it fucking takes to heal myself. Like I know I am not meant to be in fucking chronic pain all the time. So like hear me out, God. I'm fucking ready to do whatever it takes to heal. And that's how I've been for a long time. But it's taken a long fucking time. I mean, healing doesn't usually happen overnight, but I'm a living example that it can happen. And so yeah, this energy in motion, these emotions get trapped like electricity, and then we have to they get kind of coiled up, so it becomes like a coiled up energy. And an interesting insight I had, which I never heard before, is if you think about the word wound, like, a lot of people say like, I am wounded. What's another, I'll just say this to all of you watching, what's another way to pronounce the word wound? And what would that word mean? That's my question to y'all. Anybody know the answer? Feel free to drop it in the comments. So one day I was looking at the word wound and I was like, oh, it could also be like wound, like a coil that's wound up too tight. Yeah, see, Josh figured it out. Yeah, so like these coils, they get wound up too tight, and it's like a guitar. So another part of my whole philosophy on healing is like our whole body in Chinese medicine, we have these energy meridians. So they flow like through our body all the way from our heads to our toes. And in yoga philosophy, ancient Vedic philosophy, we literally have like thousands of these little tiny like highways of energy that go from all throughout our body. And so I like to imagine these are like guitar strings. And when we get stuck in chronic pain and chronic stress, these guitar strings are like wound up way too fucking tight, and it's like we're on edge all the time. Anybody says anything to one of those strings, it goes and you like freak out. You can't handle it. And people always come up to me and they're like, Kevin, you're so chill. Like, how are you so chill? And and I literally believe I've been meditating for 12 or 13 years, but I believe it's largely because I've spent hundreds of hours yelling at the top of my lungs to discharge this repressed energy that so many of us are just carrying around. And it's like I've slowly unwound those coiled up guitar strings, and now I feel fucking great compared to that. I mean, I still have my challenges, but compared to where I used to be, I feel so much more free and just like comfortable in my body. Like, for so much of my life, I never felt comfortable in my body. And now that I do feel pretty comfortable in my body, I'm like, thank you, God. Like, I knew that I didn't have to fucking suffer all the time. And, like, I really want to share what's helped me with other people, because I don't feel like anyone should have to, like, live with chronic pain. I mean, if there is a way, and there usually is some sort of way to at least, find some relief for these challenges. So, let's take a breath. Having that concept, though, of the energy meridians as being like guitar strings that are wound up too tight, and we need to find ways to gently release them. So John says, I've been racking my brain trying to figure out how to release all the repressed stuff I have. Yeah, and that's the thing, like, anyone that's watching this, I'm a huge advocate for a concept called titration, spelled Titration, and it basically just means going one step at a time, one layer at a time. And so that is a crucial practice for any sort of healing. I mean, a lot of us, we get excited, we think we're going to get rid of all our trauma in a few days or a few weeks, and like, that rarely happens unless you have some kind of quantum leap. But my big message is, like, we all need a daily practice of centering ourselves and moving the energy in the body. I will say, like, this is my book called Unlocking Our Superpowers. There's a whole chapter in here called The Healing Process, which shares a lot of my favorite tools that have helped me. And one of them is called, like, tapping, shaking, bouncing, slapping, jumping. Because, like, all these different ways of moving energy is just a way to, like, loosen up all those energy meridians that so many of us they're like coiled too tight. So, like, finding a daily practice of movement is really crucial. And one thing I will say, my friend John mentioned that he said plant medicine alone has not been enough for him to get out this repressed things. And I will speak to my perspective on plant medicine, is that sometimes plant medicine, it's almost like it takes you way out of where the trauma is, or at least this has been my experience. Like, for example, if I take a plant medicine and it shows me that, like, I need to forgive someone, I will feel so much love in that moment that I'll just be like, oh my God, like, I forgive you, Dad. Like, now I get it why you never gave me as much hugs as I wanted. And it's like, in that plant medicine ceremony, you think, you go and it takes you to, like, a bird's eye view, and you're able to see, like, oh wow, I can forgive my dad for that, now I get it. And then you go back to regular life, and on a mental, and as I said in the very beginning, remember, there's a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspect to healing. So it's like, maybe on the spiritual level we forgave our dad, but the practical level is that pain, that wound still might exist on a physical level. And so it needs to be addressed on a physical level. It needs to be discharged on a physical level, which can only happen through like the physical plane. So, like, yelling or punching or getting a massage, like, those are ways to address it on the physical level. And so my whole model of healing is like that's a holistic model of addressing these different aspects. So I just wanted to say, like, I used to do a lot of plant medicines, and they really have helped me in a lot of ways, but in certain ways I feel like they were almost like sort of a shortcut. There's like, you think that you healed something, but the fact is it's still stored in your body somewhere, and so you gotta, like, kind of do the work outside of the physical realm. Lori's saying she loves yelling, stomping, energy puking. Yeah, we gotta fucking purge these stuck energies out of our system. And another huge one that I recommend is just going barefoot on the earth. Mother Earth is like a constant healing vibration, and so we can not only absorb healing energy from her. We're like scientifically proven, if you walk barefoot on the earth, you're absorbing negative electrons, which are beneficial for our bodies. So there's that aspect, but we're also like discharging the stuck energy and the wonky vibes that are stuck in our energy field. So like that to me is a number one easy practice for anyone that's on a healing path, is to walk barefoot in the grass. Not on top of all of that, it has been shown to greatly reduce inflammation in the body. They've done scans on people and shown how there's inflammation in all these places. Then they take them to the grass for 30 minutes. Then they scan them again, and all the places that were red on the thermal scan have like changed to blue or green or something. I have a whole book on this. And so inflammation is one of the huge factors in chronic pain, in pretty much every illness imaginable. So if there was a free way to easily reduce inflammation every day, wouldn't you freaking want to do it? And that is going barefoot in the grass. Or any other natural area, sand, water, whatever. So, to specifically address the scoliosis, and I also wrote CPTSD, which is chronic post-traumatic stress disorder. So PTSD is usually explained from having some specific traumatic incident or incidents, such as a car crash, or even if you were like in Iraq for 1 year or something, it's like it's clear that there was one specific traumatic phase that happened. But CPTSD is complex because it's usually, a conglomeration of factors that were there over a long period of time. And many of us who've had challenging childhoods, we qualify as having CPTSD because it was like there were these various different things, a stack of events, as Lori said, a stack of events and factors that happened to us throughout maybe a huge period of our lives. So it can be a little bit more challenging to unpack when you have all these different factors, but there's a great book that I recommend. It's called CPTSD From Surviving to Thriving. The name of the author will come to me if I think about it, but if you type that in, CPTSD From Surviving to Thriving, or if you send me a message, I can find you the book. But that is, to me, like pretty much the Bible of healing trauma in general. I mean, he's got a lot of really great information in there. His name is just slipping my mind right now. John, if you know the author, if you could post that in the comments, that'd be great. So as far as scoliosis goes, so my spine used to have a curve in it, and I used to have more of like a hunch than I do now. And there's been a bunch of different practices that have helped me to basically be done with that. I mean, my spine feels very in alignment now. I used to feel like the energy would get stuck in my spine, because I took pictures, like I could show you guys pictures, like it literally, there was like a few vertebrae that were like pushed to the side. And I'm actually working, Pete Walker is the author, thank you. I'm working on a short book of all the different practices that I've had. I mean, I have it laid out to a good degree in this book, but I'm gonna go even more in depth with it. And so Yeah, I mean, yoga has been a pivotal thing because yoga is all about realignment. So if one side of your body is like off to the side, yoga helps to continuously recenter yourself and realign. So one super simple practice I feel like pretty much everyone can do is shoulder rolls. So if you're watching this now or in the future, let's just do like 5 shoulder rolls together. And what I do is inhale, rolling the shoulders up, and exhale, letting out a sigh and rolling them down your back. So it's like a super simple exercise, but just having that conscious realignment to your center is really powerful. So let's do that 5 times. So inhaling up, exhale with a sigh. Inhaling up, exhale with a sigh. Inhaling up, exhale with a sigh. This time I invite you to wiggle your body on the exhale. We'll do 2 or 3 more of these. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. So I do shoulder rolls all the time, all throughout my day, and it's just a way of like bringing your energy into your body and finding that realignment. And so yeah, I mean, I've been working to heal my back, my spine for a long time. I mean, at least 6 years. And kind of a funny story, like, so one practice that I do a lot, I mean, you have to be kind of flexible, but you can literally like massage each of your vertebrae, and to kind of reduce the tension around each of your vertebrae. And so like my entire back used to be almost completely numb relative to how it is now. Like I could barely feel my back because I had shut down sensation so much. And so one of my practices that I say in my post, like I'm not lying when I tell you like I will spend 4 to 6 hours in a park or in the woods like pretty much every day. And I've been doing that for a long time. So like one day I was living in Florida, I was in the park doing my thing, so I'm like literally standing there just massaging each of my vertebrae for like 5 minutes a piece, and I go to the next one, massage that vertebrae, and this woman came up to me and she's like, "Excuse me, sir," or I think I started talking to her actually. Her and her kids were playing at the playground, and I just decided to talk to them. They seemed interesting, and we ended up having a good conversation. And she's like, "Yeah, earlier I was watching you as you were counting your vertebrae, and I was a little curious what you were doing." I'm like, "Well, I wasn't exactly counting them, but I was just massaging them and trying to reduce the tension." And that is another key message that I want to communicate with everyone, is this concept called fascia, spelled Fascia. And fascia is like the connective tissue that is all throughout our bodies. And it's described as a liquid crystalline matrix. So it's like this finely wound, like 3-dimensional spider web that goes all throughout our body, and it surrounds all of our organs and our muscles. It's basically the key to healing. So if you're on a healing path, I highly recommend learning about fascia. I have, or maybe some people pronounce it fascia. I have a playlist on YouTube of many different videos about fascia, understanding fascia. And so basically, when you have something like scoliosis, and I will just say with all of this, like, I'm not a medical doctor, so, I'm not a chiropractor, but I've been obsessed with healing myself and learning about healing for a long time. So I do feel like I have some credibility in that realm, but But I just want to say, like, fascia is the key, because when we have some kind of imbalance in our body, it's usually the fascia is playing a role in keeping it in some kind of imbalance. So if you can slowly, day by day, layer by layer, help to shift the fascia and relax it and stretch it out, it can allow something as seemingly unchangeable as a spine to actually come back into alignment. And I literally believe that's what's happened with me. So yoga has been crucial. Going barefoot in the grass every single day has been crucial. Getting as much body work as possible given your budget and life circumstances. Like, when you receive a massage, it's like a recalibration. So hopefully the person is decent at massage and they can help you to kind of recalibrate your muscles to a less tense vibration, and then you can be like, wow, like, this is actually what it feels like to, like, feel kind of good in my body. But then usually the next day we start getting back into all of our same energetic patterns and thought processes, and our repressed emotions kind of reactivate those pain areas, and then it's like 3 days later we feel like we need another massage. And I honestly believe that for huge amounts of human history, we were tribal creatures and we were actually massaging each other all the time. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to get a massage every day. Like, I mean, if you have someone you live with, or a friend or a partner, even just like a 5-minute massage can totally change your state of being. So I am a ginormous advocate for massage, body work, trading with a friend, getting a professional massage as often as possible given your budget and situation. But like, that has really been huge. I mean, I don't spend money on frivolous things as much as I can. I haven't spent $1 on alcohol in probably 10 years. I haven't spent $1 on cannabis in probably 10 years. My main things I spend money on are just like basic needs, but then also body work, because for me, body work is a basic need, because I don't want to live in chronic pain all the time, and getting a massage pretty often is huge for my well-being. And it's not like just a maintenance thing. It's literally like has realigned my fucking spine. Like, the backbone of my life has been in thanks to all of these friends and massage therapists. Like, I literally feel like the new paradigm that I want to see manifest on planet Earth is like massage being an extremely regular and like highly valued healing practice. I mean, compared to physical therapy, it's easily, in my opinion, easily as beneficial as physical therapy. I think it has to be combined with physical therapy, because we do need to, and so, as I will also say, exercise has been a crucial part of my healing path. Strength training, because it's not just relaxing the fascia around the area, the hurt or imbalanced area. It's like strengthening the muscles. Lori wants to trade massage and help her publish her book. Well, yeah, let's talk. So the key is to like gently build the muscles around whatever the area is. So if your back is having issues, doing some strength training for your back can really work wonders. John is saying muscles. I guess that's what happens when you get a massage and your muscles turn to mush because it feels so good. So yeah, all of these things I'm listing so far have been helpful. I will say that Reiki, or just channeling healing energy through one's hands, has also been massive to my healing journey. Reiki to me feels like it's like a higher dimensional frequency that like fills in the gaps of pain in our bodies. And I actually believe that it can kind of like turn on, they call it junk DNA. I feel like if you're channeling Reiki or getting Reiki from someone that's really doing it well, it can literally like turn on like your latent superpowers, your dormant superpowers. And that may sound like a big claim, but like I had a woman, a Reiki master, that would give Reiki to my eyes, like literally my eyeballs. And I went to her like 5 times, and I swear to God, my vision became like 5 times better, or not 5 times better, but I could noticeably see a change, and literally like see the freaking like outline of my eyeballs. It used to be less clear. Thanks for tuning in, Josh. I hope you benefited in some way from what I'm sharing here. Yeah, let's definitely keep in touch. So like having Reiki to my literal eyes, I noticed a huge change after like 5 sessions. So Reiki is huge, and I know people might get mad at me for this, but I believe we all have access to Reiki energy. I mean, that's a particular lineage which I want to honor, but just the concept of channeling energy through our hands is like a natural birthright that every human has. And so if you just like put your hands on an area and set that intention of channeling energy from wherever realm it comes from, that can happen, without any training. Like, it's just a human ability. So I recommend, I like how in Reiki there's levels to it, and they recommend, doing it only on yourself for the first year or 2, and I also agree with that. I think getting familiar with doing it on yourself is really important. And so yeah, that's my thought on that. Other practices that have helped me is simply visualizing my spine in alignment, and in conjunction with that is affirming. I have a whole chapter in my book about the power of affirmations, and some people like to hate on affirmations, and that's okay if they want to not believe they're powerful, but they're freaking missing out, because affirmations are extremely powerful, especially when done in conjunction with physical exercises. And so like, a lot of times when I'll be doing, for the last like 3 years I haven't really had any huge spinal issues. Mainly I was working on it like back in 2017. I still have subtle things that I work on, but it feels pretty much better now. But when I was working on it, one of the affirmations that I would say is like, it's my greatest benefit for my spine to be in alignment. And I would say that over and over again. I would say it's totally normal for my spine to be straight, things like that, because there's different ways to like reprogram our subconscious mind. And I believe that our subconscious mind is essentially our body. So anything that we have going wrong in our body, there's almost always a correlation to some kind of belief or thought system that can be worked on. And I totally understand. We've inherited a lot of crazy traumas and stuff. So I'm not trying to say it's your fault for having a certain issue, but if, for example, we slouched because we were trying to protect our heart, which I believe is part of my thing. I used to have a belief that I wasn't worthy of receiving love because my parents were not very touch oriented. So I came up with a belief that I'm not worthy of love, and thus I created like an armor around my heart, because I was like, alright, well, fuck you, world. If I'm not worthy of love, I'm gonna create a fucking armor around my heart. And so it's been many years of like dissolving that armor layer by layer. And so having affirmations that move in conjunction with that is really helpful. And that's one of the things that I help my coaching clients do, is to develop affirmations that are like surgical tools that go in there and help to like actually shift the things that people are trying to shift. And there's really like an art to it, of reprogramming the subconscious mind in order to align with the life that we actually want to live. So there's a huge amount of tools that I do, and really I think the key is just like getting down into yourself and being like, I am fucking dedicated to whatever I'm working on healing, and just like devoting yourself deeper to it, making it a priority, and also trying to have some fun with it. I mean, there are plenty of healing modalities that are very fun. I mean, I think going barefoot in nature is great. You know, dancing is huge to like just loosen up your body and get yourself out of that rigid thought patterns that we sometimes get stuck in. Because, you know, if you're having the same thoughts every day and they're boring, it's probably because you're doing the same body movements every day, and those are pretty boring. But if you start doing all these new body patterns and new things, it's like you're literally opening up new thought patterns and things. Thank you, Lori. Yes, I am sharing what I love, so I feel like I'm radiating. Plus, I've been in the sun for a lot of today, so I'm reflecting that sun energy. So yeah, dance, ecstatic dance. If y'all can find ecstatic dance in your area, please check it out. If it's not in your area, maybe you need to start one. Or you can just dance in the park, dance in your house. If you ever need dance music, I've got like literally like 1,000 songs I could recommend that I have playlists of on YouTube. So dance is a big one. I'm trying to think what other recommendations. Those are the big ones. So just to recap, things that have helped me heal my spine is yoga, you know, pretty much every day, at least a little bit. Strength training. So, I mean, I do strength training for all my muscle groups, but specifically the ones around whatever your injured area is. Drinking water is crucial too. I say this in every video, but please get yourself a good reusable water bottle. This company called Life Factory is pretty great. They create these glass bottles. I really love glass, and having like some good filtered water, it's pretty crucial to get trace minerals back into your water though if you're doing any kind of filtered. So these are crucial. Because yeah, being properly hydrated is definitely high on the list for the healing journey. I mean, like the fascia in our bodies is like a liquid, and so if you're properly hydrated, it's going to feel much easier to move your body. But if your fascia is like, you know, dehydrated, it's going to be that much more rigid and tense. So lots of water is crucial. John says ecstatic dance is the greatest. It really is. I'm glad that you got one here in Michigan too. So yeah, we got yoga, exercise, strength training, drinking lots of water, earthing every single day, barefoot in the grass, at least 10 minutes, doing some kind of Reiki to yourself, energy healing, We all freaking have the ability to do it. And there's, guided meditations you can listen to. In addition to all of that, visualizations, literally visualizing, feeling what it would be like to feel that alignment, and just like keep affirming that reality. Like, this reality we live in is very malleable. We've been conditioned to think that like everything's just the way it is, but this reality is very malleable. We are literally made of 70% water. So my friend Rex here says, so much wisdom, Kevin. I've recently rediscovered how powerful exhaling tension from muscles like body scan relaxation meditation is, as well as combining that technique with body movements, yoga, and dance. It seems obvious, but I was not doing the breathing mindfulness for such a long time and wondering why nothing was working. That's awesome. Yeah, the breath is huge. I didn't really touch on that too much, but conscious breathing and different breathwork practices are very good for moving stuck energy. I will literally, I do this every day, but I'll literally like feel some tightness in between my armpits over here. Check out this glorious sweat. Sweating is very good for health, everyone. So I'll like massage a certain area while doing certain breath, because the breath is like how to discharge that stuck energy, as Rex mentioned. So yeah, big exhales is great. So yeah, that's a little snapshot into the tools that have helped me. And yeah, if you have any further questions, feel free to drop it in the comments or send me a message. I will once again say a lot of this is outlined in depth in my book, Unlocking Our Superpowers, which I've always got copies of. I'm actually about to send this one out to John. It's already got his name in it here. Yeah, I love sharing, these different tools and practices that have helped me. I will also recap that massage, self-massage, getting it from somebody else, it's so freaking beneficial, and we all deserve it. Like, so many of us have been conditioned to think that, like, a massage is such a luxury, but that's like a fucking sickness of capitalism and, like, thinking that we have to, like, be in grind mode all the time. Like, we all deserve to give and receive love, and we all have innate massage abilities. Like, it's really not that hard. You just fucking push on people's muscles as like a basic massage. Professional massage is quite an art, and if you're able to experience that, it's a huge blessing. I will also mention, like, getting a massage gun. I call this the tension melter, but this is so great of a tool to have. And there's literally like 100 different brands of these out there. Most of them are pretty decent, in the $100 range. So I'm a huge fan of this thing. I'll just show you guys for a second. So this thing just starts going, and then you can get on any area that's tense, and it's super magical. So yeah, those are called massage guns. And yeah, I appreciated everyone's comments on my post yesterday. And Scooby-Doo. I'm grateful that technology allows me to share this information. And I'm grateful that y'all have been tuning in. So yeah, I think that's all for now. So happy Tuesday. And I'll end with a joke that the joke gods gave to me. So, do y'all know what type of mayonnaise makes people laugh? Anybody know what type of mayonnaise makes people laugh? The answer is LMAO. LMAO. That's the joke of the day. All right, y'all. Happy Tuesday, and yeah, hit me up if you want links to music or yeah, I already told John that one. Yeah, hit me up if you want links to any of the things that I mentioned, because I know I mentioned a bunch of stuff. So, that's all for now, y'all. Hope you have a good Tuesday. Remember to go barefoot every day in the grass, even if it's snowy outside. Peace.